And what's going on with everybody? It's your boy Eric, aka Young God, coming to you live in the Orange Dungeon right now, man. Getting into your real raw rugged. And I got somebody on the other line, man. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Who we got?
What's up, man? It's your boy Austin. It's Heatmakerz in the building. What's the word?
Hey man, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, my brother. Can't complain.
Hey man, you a New York guy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
New York. So it's really funny. So I'm from Florida, right? And
Right.
I see a lot of like, how can I put it? It's a lot of differences between the way up north and down south people move, and just the way personalities and stuff like that. And I'm just curious, from you been up north, dude. What are the differences you see between the two?
Between up north and down south,
Yeah.
I think they're a little friendlier down south. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like people kind of have natural conversations, and it doesn't have to be about nothing, or they don't necessarily want something. Like in New York, if a stranger starts talking to you, 9 out of 10 times it's gonna turn into them wanting something. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It's not like other places where you walk into a store down south and they greet you. You know what I'm saying? In New York, like first time I went down south, and I went into like it might have been like a little convenience store or whatever, and the person is like, "Yo, how you doing? How was your morning?" You know what I'm saying? Like I'm bugged out because in New York they don't do that. Everybody's kind of angry about something. It just has that edge to it. You know what I'm saying? So the difference I see is like down south has a different type of camaraderie. Even in the music industry, it's a different type of camaraderie. You know what I'm saying?
Why are you niggas so angry? That's the question I want to know.
Because the price is too high for everything, man. Rent's high, food's high,
Cause
backwoods is high, weed is high, everything is high.
Because every time like I like come across like a New York nigga, I think another difference I realized, I feel like you guys are I guess this is kind of like going big, like going being angry or whatnot, but niggas is like always hard, like always tough, like niggas always on
You
the
gotta
go.
you gotta remember how a lot of New York people came up. Like we came up in neighborhoods where it was a bunch of people in one neighborhood because
Mm.
of projects and shit like that. You had people living on top of each other, and you know what I'm saying. And when everybody came outside, it was that natural competition to be the best at whatever you did, and you saw your competition right next to you just to make it out the hood, not even to make it out the state. So it's a different type of energy in New York, and it's always been like that. And I think I personally feed off that energy, man. Like if I go any place else, it's too relaxed for me. Like I need that competition, that energy of not knowing if you know what I'm saying. Like you need that energy of not knowing sometimes to keep you on your toes.
So are you still? Do you still have a competitive edge in you still now?
1,000,000%, probably
And
more than before.
and that came from growing up in the type of neighborhoods you grew up in.
That just came from seeing my competition next to me at all times. You know, like when you grow up in certain neighborhoods, if you do music, most of the times 9 out of 10 of your friends do music,
Mm.
and then their friends, and so on and so forth. So it's like whatever I did, I seen my competition right next to me. So it gave me that competitive edge at all times because I never really wanted to ease up because you could watch that person pass you in that same shit that you doing. You know what I'm saying? And I think I just carried that shit with me. It's like I put my own chip on my shoulder now. Like I'll see certain producers in the game now, and I'm like, nah, I got to do better. I got to do more. You know what I'm saying? And even though they might be looking at me thinking the same thing, I use them as that edge that I need. You know what I'm saying?
Putting music to the side, would you say you're competitive just in general, just like everything you do, you have
Yeah,
a
million
competitive
percent. If
edge?
we playing NBA 2K, I'm competitive in everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think you should do anything unless you want to be the best at it. You know what I'm saying? When I say that, I mean like anything that involves like some sort of competition.
Mm.
Whether we know it or not, music is competition. You got it. If you're a rapper, there's another 20 million rappers. You know what I'm saying? If you're a producer, there's another 40 million producers. There's always competition, and I think once you know that, it's healthy.
Have you ever had competition to the point where you knew, like, let's say if somebody trying to become friends with you or a producer trying to talk to you, but you still kind of had like back in mind, like this nigga my competition, I can't give him everything, or are
If
you
you
not like that?
if you look at my if you just studied my career, I don't. You've never seen me with any producers like collaborating or doing shit, no shit like that. Not saying that I don't knock anybody that does it, but for me, it's like I've always kind of been in my own boat because people. How can I put it? Like producers will start being friends with each other and teaming. That's cool, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like I make music like anybody else. So I don't want to have your energy on me. You understand what I'm saying
Mm.
to you? Like I might fuck with your music by itself, but I don't necessarily think our two worlds need to mix.
So you've never heard a producer where you was like, damn, like I really want to work with that nigga.
Never.
Never. That's crazy. I like.
No, I'm a fan of other producers. Don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. Like I'm a fan of Dre. I'm a fan. I'm even a fan of that like producers now. I always say I like Justice League. You know what I'm saying? I think they're dope. I like a bunch of producers. I won't get into, but there's a bunch of producers I
Yeah.
like, but I don't want to work with any of them as far as like me lay down a sample chop and they put drums. I'm not into all of that. To me, that's kind of I might be the only one that feels like this, but I feel like it's kind of corny to me. It's like rappers writing each other's verses.
You
You know
think
what I'm
so?
saying?
You think so?
A million percent, because it's the energy, right? So if I'm giving you my words to say, how is that your feelings? And it's the same thing with production. Like if I do a beat and another producer jumps in, he's gonna do something that I would have never did, and that's not my feeling anymore. Because you
Mm.
understand, like it's a whole different energy that's on the track now. So I might like the whole thing, but 50% of it is my energy and 50% is yours. I don't think music should be made like that, in my opinion. That's why, like when you hear albums that were strictly produced by one producer, a lot of times they're classics because that producer got a chance to put his energy all over that record. If he's a talented producer, not just anybody that's doing a whole album for their man. I just mean if you run into a talented producer and he gets the chance to work with a talented artist and they do a whole project, a lot of times you love that project because you're hearing that producer's energy and that artist's energy balled up into one project. When you've got a bunch of different producers on a project, not even collaborating, when you got a bunch of different producers on a project, it makes it hard to have that cohesiveness because they all have different ways of approaching music.
Nah, I definitely agree with that because I never looked at it in the sense of like two producers. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I have seen tracks where it's like 13 producers. I'm like, I don't know how y'all niggas got together and did all that. That's crazy.
Right. And here's the thing with two, unless one, here's the only way I understand two producers working together. If one dude plays and the other dude doesn't play instruments and but he's good on the drums, I understand that. But for me to be able to have, like, I've been making beats by myself for years. So for me to say now I'm going to include you in my process, we might have two different processes, a way of making music, and if you do your thing, it might not fit with the way I normally do
Yeah.
shit. So now one of us is thrown off, or both of us is thrown off, and we trying to make it work. It's like it's not worth all of that.
You
To me,
you're
the
by
vibe,
yourself. You're a by yourself type person.
million percent,
I understand that because
a million percent.
I get that for a fact because I might, let's say if I'm doing a video or something like that, and I might have a cameraman or audio man or whatever that I'm always with. Then I switch it up because I need somebody else, and I'm like, bro, what
Right,
are you doing? Because you know what I'm saying, I'm so used to this right
right,
here, and now you
right.
messing up the whole thing.
And
So yeah,
look at it deeper than that, right? When us as musicians, when we're dead and gone, right, and people study our music, which would be like studying our bones. You understand? If somebody else helped us with that music, what are they really studying? Who are they studying?
mm,
You understand? Like we leave a piece of us behind with our music. So if our music is, for lack of better words, if it's tainted with somebody else's energy that we just did, whether it was a money grab or trying to get more publishing on a record or whatever it was, cool. But for the people 100 years from now that'll hear a Heatmaker record, I want them to know that that was me. You're listening to me. My grandkids, my great grandkids, I want them to know that was me. That wasn't me mixed with a little bit of Timberland. That wasn't, no, that was your, that's how I felt when I made music. You understand? Like, so I look at it from that perspective, and that's why I don't collaborate with other groups. Not because I have anything against them. I just don't see the purpose in it.
that's good because I think that shows you have like a strong passion for it. And I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, just like kind of going to rap right now. I feel like a lot of
Right.
people,
I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. A lot of producers found themselves kind of pushed out of the game, and they figured it out. The best way in is to co-produce with a nigga that might have a little buzz going now, and they trying to jump in the mix and get their names on some credits. I'm not with that.
mm,
I'm gonna win with my sound. I'm gonna lose with my sound. You understand? Like if they don't fuck with my sound, then they don't fuck with me. And what am I doing in the game?
mm.
You understand? So it's either you gonna fuck with me or not. So I look at it like that, man. I gotta win with the shit that I'm doing in order for me to love doing this shit.
I think it's even the same with rap because I feel like a lot of people don't really like care to rap anymore in the sense of like nobody's really trying to like say something, even if it's not the most over lyrically thing or whatever, but just say something personal about your life, say something that
So
resonates with you. I feel like people
here's
aren't
my
really trying to
question
do that.
to you. You've been doing interviews for a certain period of time now.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you come up with your own questions.
Yeah.
Right. So now if you had somebody next to you feeding you questions that you don't necessarily want to ask, but you're collaborating on this project, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. Like, I wouldn't even ask this person that question. Why are we doing that?
To make it even
You
more,
understand?
not about to say to make it even more realistic, when I'm interviewing certain people and their publicists or managers say, "Hey, we don't want you to ask this question," and then it's kind of weird
Exactly.
because it's not natural conversation because I'm avoiding certain stuff.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. So that's how I look at it, the music shit like that. I don't want my shit tainted by anything or any. This is why I work for myself. Other than that, I go get a 9 to 5 if I wanted to collaborate with people. You understand? Like that's how I look at it. If I
Yeah.
wanted to sit shoulder to shoulder and collaborate with somebody, I go get an office job.
that's that's fire. I'm not gonna. That's a
You understand?
bar. That's a bar. That's hard.
But that's it's a fact.
Yeah.
That's why when I and this shit is a stress reliever. This shit is an anxiety calmer.
Mm.
Why am I gonna share that experience with somebody else when I don't feel like how they feel at that particular moment? It's different with a rapper. I give them the energy I put on a beat, and then they put their energy on top of it. That's a different type of collaboration. You understand? That's like, but two producers sitting shoulder by shoulder sharing ideas. I don't know. I might be the oddball out, but I'm not doing that.
Well, I got something even better for you because I was just talking this with my homeboy and we were trying to break this down. But you're in the industry, so you probably break it down a little better. What is up with ghost producing? I know about ghost writing, but ghost producing, that's really weird to me. Like what's the point of that
So
concept?
what'll happen is it'll be a producer that already has a name, and he'll just have a bunch of ghost producers under him that either sound like him or have a sound that he lacks, and they put their name on it, sell it for their price, and piece him off or her off.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And that's another thing. I've never done that in my career either, because then you start to get the stories that come out of people like, yo, I made that beat, and he said, I don't want none of that. If you hear a Heatmaker record, it's a Heatmakerz record.
Mm.
I've had my hands on that record. You know what I'm saying? So the most that you see happen is like, I might bring in somebody that plays the guitar or somebody that plays the keys for certain records, but other than that, I'm not collaborating. It's just my idea, and I'm telling them what to do as far as playing keys or what type of chords I want if it's a guitar, whatever it is. But I'm never just sitting idly while somebody else is finishing the record. You understand? Like, I'm not with that.
No, that's interesting. And I guess speaking of just like specific songs and you working on them, I just want to say that the Mob definitely one of my favorite beats of all time. It's a really
Thank
really
you, my
hard
brother.
beat, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Lil Wayne definitely one of my favorites of all time. So yeah, it's just a really really good beat. And I guess to kind of bring it back to the South, like how did you and Wayne kind of start collabing on that?
Whatever wasn't Wayne wasn't even around during those times.
Mm.
Oh, you mean Little Wayne?
Yeah,
I thought
Lil
you
Wayne.
talking about, oh, I thought you talking about the other dude that used to play keys.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
I'm
Little
talking about
Wayne.
Wayne
Oh,
on the Mob. Yeah.
I actually, a friend of mine named British that does security for Dipset. He actually was cool with Wayne, and he hit me up and was like, he said, "Yo, Wayne wants some tracks, man. Send me some shit." And I sent him some shit in like March, and they didn't hit me back till November, right? Matter of fact, October, right before the album came out.
Mm.
And they took 2 joints, and at that point, I never met Wayne face to face. At that point, we were just doing shit through email.
Yeah.
And then I finally met Wayne at a BET event that I was doing. Me and him met. We spoke, cool dude. You know what I'm saying? We never did any work since, but we just actually, I just sent him some music the other day, picked some records, so we should be working again soon.
I think that's interesting that you say I might be working again soon because that era of Wayne where he was rapping over like a lot of soul samples and just a lot of samples in general, I feel like that was when he was just like creativity, he was just going crazy. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's for a lot of people. I feel like when a lot of people who like primarily start rapping on soul samples, they just kind of like, I don't know, they peak to me. Like for example, Earl Sweatshirt.
because the music has a certain type of feel to it, man. Like a lot of the music now is soulless. That shit is just hollow. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. Like for example, like Earl Sweatshirt last album, some rap songs, he's rapping over a lot of soul samples and a lot of samples, and I feel like he's just at his best right now. And when you say music is soulless, that brings me back to what I always say. The reason that I feel like a lot of like mainstream R&B is falling off is because of 2 reasons, and that's because people don't sing as well and they don't use instruments. So when I feel like when you take instruments out, which evoke emotion out of people, and then you take good vocals out, like where's the soul? It's a soulless music. So I
Right.
do think that's the thing. Why do you think everything is so soulless? Like why do you think that shift like became
Because
okay?
because because of computers.
Mm.
Computers, what computers does, computers make things perfect, or as perfect as it can. When things lose their imperfection, they lose their soul.
Mm.
You understand? I'm trying to tell you the imperfections is what you feel in a record, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
Like the guitar might that might be behind the beat a little bit, that's not on beat perfectly, or the piano that might have went out of tune one time, but the average ear can't hear it. It's little things like that that made records back in the day. Right now, everything is run through a computer, and the computer fixes it up and spits it out. You understand? So by the time you hear it, everything is perfect. Like when you hear a lot of those trap beats, the hi hats are perfect. A real drummer can't play like that.
Yeah.
It's impossible. I mean, a real drummer can make it feel like that, but it's gonna be imperfections in the timing of it
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. That's what's gonna make it sound dope. Like even me, when I do drum programming now, I don't do it to sound perfect. I do it in a way to make it feel like a live drummer's playing it,
Mm.
because that's the soul. That's the real soul that you add into it. It's the imperfections.
Now, I definitely do think as weird that human error can make a song sound good. That's kind of like it's kind of
Yes.
ironic. It's not ironic. It's interesting. I
To
never
me,
thought about it like that.
I've made some of my best music because of in the middle of making the music, I made a mistake and it sounded dope, and
Mm.
I just corrected that mistake, but I still kind of kept the feel. You understand what I'm saying? But it took a mistake for me to hear it.
You got a
A lot
specific
of people don't
example?
have that no more.
You got a specific example where you accidentally made a mistake and you was like, that kind of sound fire.
Like perfect, like Dipset Anthem.
Mm.
When I did Dipset Anthem, that main trigger that's going throughout it, I didn't do that on purpose. I had my finger on the no repeat button, and I was hitting one of the samples, and it did that, and I'm like, oh shit, that'll sound dope if I actually did that, and I did it, and that's what gives the beat its bounce to this day. You know what I'm saying? But if I was running through a computer, that would have never happened. I'd have never heard that.
That's interesting that you said like that's what still gives its bounce to this day because a lot of them Dipset beats, like you know how like sometimes music or just production it kind of gets outdated. A lot of those beats they could still be used today, and it's like yo that's a hard beat or whatnot.
Right.
So I do gotta like shout out to you for making timeless beats because a lot of those beats from that era that wasn't like Dipset and just other artists, they don't sound as
Right.
good. They sound old. That beat can sound like fresh as today. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, my
So
brother.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
that's really interesting to me. And yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know about that. Like, is there any songs from that Dipset era that I guess wasn't as big, but the beat you made for it you really cherish?
Now, the only beat that I've ever made that I really cherish to this day is "I'm Ready,"
Mm.
because that was like that's a different type of beat, and the way it came about, it was just it's just one of my better experiences making music. You know what I'm saying? As far as like everything happens, like I go to the record store, the the minute I put my needle down on the record, it falls on that spot on the record, and I'm like, I don't even stay in the record store. I just take the record. I go home because I knew the shit was like a special type of sample. I
Yeah.
go home. I make the shit in like 20 minutes, and I really literally sit in the room for about 2 hours and listen to this shit on repeat. Like there's something special about this beat. I just didn't know who could rap on it, because if you listen to the swing of that beat, it's not a regular, like it's like a swing beat. So I didn't at that time. Nobody was rapping to beats like that
Mm.
because I made that beat before I met Dipset.
Mm.
So everything just happened perfectly, man. I met the right people to attack that record, and that became like a big record in hip hop to this day.
Nah, yeah, that's definitely like I feel like a lot of those Dipset beats, like I said, are really really good stuff. And I guess so I don't keep you for too long, man. Just a couple of fan questions, and we'll get out of here. The first one is from Kiker Guard. He says, "Ask if he'll ever work with Wayne again." We kind of just talked about that.
Yeah,
Ask.
definitely.
He said, "Ask what inspired them to make the beats the way they did, and thoughts on the current wave of rap."
Um, okay, what inspired me to make beats the way that I did was I was just using my resources. Like I didn't play the keys, I didn't play any instruments, but I had a house full of records. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And it was I didn't want to sample the way everybody else sampled.
Yeah.
Like take loops and put break beats or whatever they was doing at the time. So I just kind of came up with my own way of sampling soul music or sampling older records. You know what I'm saying? Or even newer records. I didn't just sample soul records. I just sampled whatever was around that was
Mm-hmm.
dope. And I guess my thought on the current state of hip hop is I'm not mad at it. I just hate when music is lopsided. You understand?
Mm.
Like even when like my shit was popping and everybody started to kind of mimic the sound that I was doing, Just was
Yeah.
doing, and Kanye was doing. That started to get kind of whack to me. Like, yo, everybody's sounding the same. This shit sounds corny. But now, like with trap, it's almost like it's happening again. Everything is sounding the same, and it's like music needs the monotony has to break at this point. You understand? I think that's why people took to Jim's album so well, is because it didn't sound like any other album that was out, and it was good.
No, I would definitely agree. Because I feel like a lot of trap producers, they don't have a signature style. It's like this could sound like
Right.
the 37th trap producer. This don't sound like this specific trap producer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nah, see,
Exactly.
I
That's what's
definitely agree
missing.
with
That's what's missing. You was talking about R&B. That's what's missing from R&B. It's a signature voice. Everybody's voice sound the same. They put a little tune on it, do the same melodies. They just singing it from different bodies, but they all sound the same. And I think when somebody comes in the game with a unique voice, they're gonna win.
that. Yeah, I agree. Kiker he also asked this question. I skipped over and I didn't realize he said this. He said, "What's your thoughts on the future of rap in New York City?"
We good. I think new people in New York have to stop talking about, yo, bringing New York back, bring it, like those days are done. You understand? Like it's kind of like you just might happen to be from New York with a dope song. You can't. I wouldn't plant my flag on that. Like, yo, I'm holding down New York. Like that's always been corny to me. I believe in holding down music, holding down
Yeah.
good music. I don't give a fuck where you from. You know what I'm saying? Because I hear dope artists that sound like they could be from New York, but they live in Cali.
Mm.
You understand? Like niggas that just love to rap and sound like a New York nigga, so it don't matter to me. I just want that type of shit to win one more time, where people have to actually put thought into their words
Yeah.
and not just say a bunch of dumb shit.
Mm.
You understand? Like
Yeah.
the trap shit don't bother me, but really say something on there. I don't mean you have to really rap. Just really make your words make sense. I'm not mad at that.
Okay. The boy Ace, he says, asks why he calls himself Heatmakers or the Heatmakers if it's just one guy.
Yeah, just one.
I guess he's saying why is it Heatmakers if it's just one nigga?
Gotta do the work of many.
That makes a lot of sense. Last question comes from where is this question at? It comes from BM. That's a little long question. He says, "You, if you see this comment before your interview, tell him that I want to know how they came to produce for the German rapper Sammy Deluxe. It's one of his best beats. What was the connection there? Dude seems pretty popular in Germany, but not in the U.S."
Sammy Deluxe. How the fuck did that come about again? Sammy Deluxe. Oh yeah, I was doing business with a guy by the name of Ramos,
Mm.
and this is when I first started doing the Dipset shit. He handled a lot of international shit. Like he had. I also did a record for what was her name again? Was it not Adele? What's the other chick named the dark skin chick? Adele. What's her name?
Estelle?
Estelle. Estelle. You actually did a record for Estelle back then, like around that time. She wasn't in the States yet.
Mm.
She was still in the UK. So I did a record for her. I did a record with Sammy Deluxe. But to answer his question, it was a dude by the name of Ramos that was like doing rounds with me with international artists and all that. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I listened to the song. I thought it was gonna be like a little throwaway international beat or whatever. Fire beat. I wasn't expecting that, man. It was a
I
fire beat,
haven't
man.
heard that shit in years, man. You just typed it in online. What's the name of that shit? I gotta
Yeah,
listen to it
he
myself.
linked it. I'll text it to you because he linked me the
Yeah,
song.
send it to me. I gotta hear that shit.
I got you. Yeah, that's anything else you gotta say before we get out of here, man?
Nah, thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, no problem. For everybody watching, I say what I mean. I mean what I say. Haters gonna hate, players gonna play, and y'all holla at your boy.